what up, my magnetites? So I wanted to give a overview of what I thought so far about SMT V. I'm many hours in. I'm playing it on hard mode, my first playthrough, and I am many hours in, but it doesn't mean that I'm very many hours along. And I'm not going to spoil where I am or give too much like that. This will be a spoiler-free review of what I think so far about the game. So far, I am extremely happy with everything within the game. There are a few things, I suppose, that we could nitpick on with more of a preference thing for buffs, debuffs, and things of that nature. You know, how they work in this game compared to others. But I really don't, by any means, think that there was anything in this game that was off. In fact, I've noticed a lot of people talking about the buffs like Tarakaja, basically only doing one player at a time, one character. But I'm pretty sure that those moves only did it for one character in SMT 1 and 2, though I won't swear to that, but I'm pretty sure it was always just one character except for Nocturne and the newer games. That being said, you can always get the next level of it, and it does all the characters. It's not really a gripe. If anything, it's just early. They're just early, moves versus later moves. So I wouldn't really make that like a big deal or think about that too much. There are some other things, I suppose, that you can nitpick on, but I'm not far enough in the game to, even at this point, in being I've got to be over 30 hours in, and I'm not that far, to be honest. You go through a lot of trial and error in this game when you're playing. But one thing that I will say is that this game is incredibly varied. It's not boring at all. It has a lot of actual entertaining moments. You're never going to feel quite at peace. Now, I haven't played normal, so I can't tell you about the difficulty, but I will tell you, as I did in my other video, this game is difficult, but never unfair. In most SMT games, if you're accustomed to them, all it takes is running into one demon you didn't mean to fight, and you die. It's just a couple things can go wrong. Now, in this game, you can avoid enemies, which is very different than other SMT games for the most part. However, just because you attack first doesn't always mean you move first. So there are a lot of times where you'll get surprised and get killed, and that be that. So this is a tough game, but it's fair, and it's not really any different than any other games. I think I mentioned last time about Hama and Mudo being a bit nerfed in some aspects, but no more than in Apocalypse. So it's not that different. But the game itself is truly, truly beautiful. I mean, the game is absolutely gorgeous. It is a fun, vibrant game with a lot to do, a lot more in a lot of ways than you would with other SMT games. Now, I'm a big fan of the original games. I enjoy traveling the world map, exploration, and things like that. This game really takes that to another level with the exploration aspect. I mean, this is the most exploration-heavy Mega 10 game I think that's ever existed, and certainly in the SMT realm. You are able to literally go in many ways wherever you want. Now, it is linear, but it's very well structured so that it's not linear, if that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff to do that isn't the main story, so it feels much more varied. There seems to be other routes to get to different locations, kind of like Dark Souls, so it makes you feel like you can get to different spots in different ways. But difference being, Dark Souls typically has multiple stages to get to the same spot. This is a little bit smaller than that. But what I mean is overall, you could sometimes find, ways to certain sections through maybe hopping through abandoned buildings, going up certain mountains with certain rocks, and just getting the right angle. I really appreciate how edges and little pieces can be jumped on so that you can make it to certain roofs that seem inaccessible. I mean, there's a lot that's gone into this game to make it a lot of fun. This is the kind of game that you need to pick up. One, it's great to support Atlas because obviously we want to get more of these. My dream is that we will get the older games, whether that be the original Megami Tensei games, the Shin Megami Tensei games, or the Majin Tensei game. Yeah, I mean, I am hoping that we get everything. I'm hoping that this makes them re-release those mobile games that they bothered putting in for cell phones before there were smartphones, and maybe giving us all an opportunity to play them. I mean, that would be incredible. Some of those are sequels to original games or side stories. I mean, they have so many ideas that I'd love to explore. I mean, they have a roguelike game that's a side story of SMT 2. I mean, there's just so much that I'd love to see them do, but I think the more successful this is, the more they won't focus on Persona. Now, this isn't a I hate Persona rant, because I certainly love Persona, but it's not... I would like to see something other than Persona get made here, and I think that for the long time, SMT fans, we deserve a proper version of the original games. We've gotten ports. We've gotten an iPhone port that was much like the GBA and PS1 version. But I feel that we're entitled at this point, based on the sales, based on our long support of Atlas, and really not being, favorable, since we could never buy the games like we were intended to. I feel like now that we're buying SMT 5 the way we were intended to, that Atlas needs to take a look at this and be like, wow, maybe, I mean, it's not for us as much as it is for them to, rebuild these assets, which you now have, as I stated before in another video, but utilize this stuff and give us some of these games so we can, understand the lore and the backgrounds better. I mean, it's a great opportunity to push out games that already had wonderful ideas and really just make the best version of them possible. But anyway, so back to SMT 5. The battle system is great. The battle system is addicting. You never feel... It's never boring. It's never easy. I mean, you can go back to early stages and still get killed. That's how crazy these games are. But especially specifically this one. All of these extra bosses, mini bosses, are so fun to tackle. I don't even mind when I just want to get sometimes I'll go back to a mini boss just to see am I strategic enough and high level enough to beat it yet? And most of the time it's no. But that's what makes this so fun. I really enjoy everything that this game puts together for us. The story is entertaining. I would say it's pretty well paced, though I know a lot of other reviewers don't think that. However, I'm not at the end, so I guess I can't really give you a full review on that. But so far, the story is very entertaining. I see nothing outside of the realm of it being entertaining. The characters, which is usually a little bit less important to an SMT story, they're pretty important, I think. At least they give you, they really fill their role of the alignment concept, in my opinion. I've been entertained by this game's story, its world, its battle system. Pretty much everything that comes with this game is pretty impressive and incredible. I can definitely say that I have been highly entertained by this game. It's beating a lot of expectations that I initially had for it, which is great. I'm always waiting for the next SMT game. So the fact that this ends up being one of the best games I've played in, I don't know, a decade, says something. I mean, I haven't been this entertained by a video game outside of maybe, I don't know, nothing really. I'm a huge SMT fan. I'm like, it brings me back to enjoying video games. SMT kind of killed video games for me, and yet at the same time made it highly sought after. What I mean by that is I can't go back to a typical turn-based system, and they don't make a lot of tactical RPGs anymore like they used to, though I am looking forward to the Beyond Tactics, I think it's called, which is a subseries of an RPG that I also enjoyed that came out not too long ago with like Super Nintendo-esque graphics. It's pretty fun. But in general, this is just, probably the greatest game that I've played in quite some time. There are very few games that hold this kind of interest for me. I mean, only game I can think of that even remotely holds my interest to this day is the Dark Souls series. And, for what that is, that's a very action-heavy game. And this, I'm more of an RPG, like a JRPG or a Fallout, old school Fallout type guy. Not so much the newer ones, but like Fallout 1, 2, and 3 and New Vegas. So that being said, I think that the way this gameplay is structured is phenomenal. The fusing system is great. I like what they've done with the miracles. I think they're a great addition to customization. This game has so much customization that it is really, really fun. One thing where I mean, and this isn't a gripe, this is just something I thought would have been cool because we've rarely seen it in Mega 10 games, is I actually would have enjoyed weapons, but I would have enjoyed it more so for the demons than the main character. I suppose if you're doing them for the demons, you'd probably have to do it for the main character, though he already comes equipped with a sword, so maybe not. He gets a light sword that comes out of his hand, so maybe you wouldn't even have to. I'm a sucker for the concept of your demons being able to be equipped with certain items based on what they look like. And that is, I guess their race or whatever it's considered their race. Yeah, I guess the race. When it's a fairy or a Megami or whatever. I really enjoy the idea of them being able to be equipped with things. The only game that's really ever done this successfully, Last Bible does it. I'm not sure if the first and the second do it, but I know that Last Bible 3 does it, which is a side game for Super Famicom, and the other two were for Game Boy and Game Gear, I believe. But this one, the only game system that I think really did it properly and introduced the leveling up and all of that stuff that the original SMT games didn't have for the demons is Majin Tensei 2. I think Majin Tensei 1 did it as well, but I'm more familiar with 2. If you haven't played Majin Tensei 2 and you like strategy RPGs or you like Devil Survivor, I made a video way back about this, but you really should pick this game up. It is a ton of fun, branching paths, a lot more customization than ever in any of the Devil Survivor games when it comes to your demons. They really utilize the extra system from SMT 1 and 2, which is missing in most later games. I think it was in the Devil Summoner games. But like Soul Hackers. But more importantly, I would have liked to have seen the idea of equipping, if you have let's say an Eligor, the idea of equipping some kind of spear-esque weapon to him is really highly entertaining to me. For somebody like Kinsey, the idea of having something like a swords or katanas for that character works for me. Now, if you have something that's more like a bird demon, yeah, obviously then maybe just some sort of armor and nothing else, because, what do you equip to a bird? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there are certain things that really could add to it, as opposed to just having no weapons, period. But I understand they're going for a very Nocturne feel with the no weapons, and I'm okay with that. I just would like to see the demons have a little bit more customization, because actually one thing that it does, at least in Majin Tensei, is it kind of makes them more useful for longer periods of time. And I'm not always like ready to sometimes I don't like when I work really hard to fuse a specific demon and then it's like, oh, took me so long to get you that it's already time to get better ones. So that sometimes I don't like, but I didn't feel that way in this. I actually have kept some demons from much earlier levels with me for longer periods, so which I find to be highly fun and entertaining. I think overall my main point in all of this is that this game has a lot of opportunities to wow you, and if you miss out on something like this, you're really missing out on a top of the line type game that really everyone should give a really good a real shot to. This game is pretty incredible. No, Atlas did not give me a review copy, so obviously I'm not saying this for any reason other than it is an incredible game, and everyone deserves a chance to experience it. It's it's not that expensive, fortunately. I would say that if you had an opportunity to pick this over one of the new Pokemon games or something like that, you really should go with this. This is just a much more, it's just a much better, more fun game than that. Now the Pokemon's bad, but this game is just incredible. Anyway, point being, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about all this. I really enjoy this game. What do you think about my thought on the whole equipping weapons? Do you think it makes it a little too convoluted, perhaps, to the customization based on how long you have these demons for? Do you think maybe it's just maybe it'd be a little overkill to have it? Maybe it would make their stats too good. Let me know your thoughts below. And I think I'm going to do a full video next, just based on the idea of these weapons for the demons, for future iterations or future spin-offs. So let me know your thoughts, and until then, I'm out.